Felt alone in the dark, tears falling in the rain, heart full of thunder, soul wrapped in pain. But then I heard a whisper blowing through the trees. You're not forgotten, you're still seen by me. Yeah, he's watching over my soul, every high, every low. He's in control, he's watching. Love never sleeps, eyes like fire, and his promise he keeps. My refuge, he's my calm, my forever in a storm. Yeah, he's watching over me. I tried to run, I tried to hide, made mistakes I still can't justify, but mercy met me in my shame. Grace found me and called my name. Yes, watching.
I will instruct you and teach you the way you should go. I will count you with my mouth.
Yeah, he's watching, yes, over my soul, every high, every low. He's in control, he's watching. Love never sleeps, eyes like fire, and his promise he keeps. My shelter, he's my balm, even when I'm broken and calm. Yeah, he's watching, he's always watching me. He watched me in the valley, loved me through my fears. He counted every heartbeat, bottled up my tears. Oh, he never left my side through the darkest fight. He's the moon in my midnight, the dawn in my night. Don't need to fear every prayer I speak. He's already near. My soul believes, guiding my steps with eternal light. He's my father, he's my friend, my beginning and my end. Yeah, he's watching over me. He's watching. He sees me. He's watching. He frees me. He's watching. Through the storm. He's watching. Yeah, keeps me. He's watching. Always watching. He's watching. Watching. Yeah.
Shabbat Shalom, family. It's good to see you all here. I hope you're all doing well. I had to do this a little earlier because, the circumstances that I'm in with my son. But I'm glad you could all make it despite everything happening. So we're going to get started. This one is actually pretty good, from Israelites Gathering. And this one is a little over an hour and a half long, but definitely full of biblical gems and things that we can walk away with, more knowledge. So, well, thank you. And, the songs are running 24/7. So if you hadn't had an opportunity to go over and listen to that live stream I have up, this song is there as well. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can get started. All right. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. And I also want to put out there a special prayer for Black Voltron Reloaded. He recently passed at the age of 55. He was one of my subscribers. And, occasionally he would even be in my chats on my live stream. So, my condolences and prayers go out to his family. I know this is a rough time. He died so young at the age of 55. So please keep his family in your prayers. I know that's got to be a devastating thing because from what I understand, it was very unexpected. All right, y'all, here we go.
Your global campaign just launched. But wait, the logo's cropped, the colors are off, and did legal clear that image? When teams create without guardrails, mistakes slip through, but not with Adobe Express, the quick and easy app to create on-brand content. Brand kits and lock templates make following design guidelines a no-brainer for HR, sales, and marketing teams. And commercially safe AI powered by Firefly lets them create confidently, so your brand always shows up polished, protected, and consistent everywhere. Learn more at adobe.com/go/express.
Haldeman Subaru has once again been nationally recognized for our dedication to the community and the Subaru Love Promise. This award nationally recognizes Subaru retailers who are making the world a better place while demonstrating an outstanding commitment to supporting passions and causes in local communities. Whether it's donating clothes to people in need, donating supplies to local schools, or delivering warm blankets and messages of hope to patients fighting cancer, we believe in giving back to the community that has blessed us with our success. Haldeman Subaru, more than a car dealer.
Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to another one of our Israelites gathering Shabbat studies. My name is Yadon Yasharal, and Brother Kased is out this week. Definitely keep his family lifted up in prayer. We tell y'all week in and week out the battles we got to go through just to get stuff prepared for y'all. So definitely keep us lifted up in prayer. Because it has definitely been an eventful past couple of weeks. But with that being said, again, we are Israelites Gathering. If you haven't already, visit our website at israelitesgathering.com, or you can visit our app. You can download our app on the App Store with iPhone, or on the Android Play Store, Google Play Store with Android. Our free application, which will give you access to all of our classes, all of our study materials, as well as our articles and our instant messaging capabilities to connect with other Hebrews in your corner of the earth. The title of our Shabbat study today is The Israelites, Public Enemy Number One. The Israelites, Public Enemy Number One. And with so much going on in the world right now, it's very important that we understand where we fall in the midst of all this. What does it have to do with us? There's so much distraction. We got, this Gentile getting shot or so-called getting killed. We got all these mass shootings, bad weather, earthquakes, the economy. You got the President Trump. And then now you got the war going on. You got all these different things. Puffy getting 4 years in prison or whatever. You're getting all these things to keep us distracted from what's really going on and what they're really after. So we have to understand where we sit in the grand scheme of things. So before we get started in the class, I wanted to go over a few articles real quick just to get us an idea of where we're going with the class. So what we want to look at is the first thing is who's siding with Israel, the biblical state of Israel. Who is siding with them? We know the world is speaking out. Even the United Nations has spoken out against the genocide that's going on in our land, with two groups of people fighting over a land that doesn't belong to them. But one group is wiping out another group illegally against national laws and things that have been in place for hundreds of years. So let's just take a look. It says, who recognizes the state of Palestine? Because that's what it's really all about. Israel, the state of Israel, wants to completely remove the state of Palestine and just take over the entire land. So if you are siding with the state of Israel, the Zionist or Jewish community there, then you're basically saying that Palestine should not be in existence. So all those people got to leave. These Euro Gentiles that came in the land shall now take over that whole state of Israel, including the part they call Palestine. So if you are for that, then you are siding with Israel. If you are for Palestine, or at least for basic human rights, you're going to say, no, you can't wipe out a whole group of people and just take the land, especially when that's not your land. So let's see where the world sides with that. So if we look at the article, it says, from historic recognition to recent shifts as results of the Gaza war, a look at the global stance on Palestinian statehood. All right, Britain, Australia, Canada, Portugal on Sunday recognized a Palestinian state after nearly 2 years of war in Gaza, with France, Belgium, and other countries following suit at the UN General Assembly. So all these countries are now saying we recognize Palestine as an official place. They're giving them recognition. All right. So with that being said, what countries will not recognize Palestine? That's what we want to look at. Who is siding with Israel? All right, so let's scroll down. Who does not? Answer: some 40 countries, including Israel, obviously, and the United States and their allies. So the U.S. is basically saying Palestine should not be a state. If you are supporting Israel, and Israel is literally saying we're tanking through all these people. All right, so let's see who else besides the United States. In Asia, you got Japan, South Korea, Singapore. They do not recognize Palestine. Either does some places in Africa, like Cameroon, Panama, and most of the countries in Oceania. So these are the countries that are basically saying, hey, we don't support Palestine. We are supporting the state of Israel. Okay, so what does that have to do with us? Right? So let's follow the line here. Okay, so the next thing we want to see, we know America is supporting Palestine. Let's take a look at a congressional report from the Library of Congress and from the White House. I have an article we're going to look at real quick, a report that's going to show you how much money. So is America supporting Israel since 1948? So let me go ahead and pull that up real quick. I just want to make a point here. All right, so if I pull up the report, here it is. All right, so this is the Congressional Research Service. All right, this was updated May of 2025. You can get that on congress.gov. CRSreports.congress.gov. So this is official. This is their reports, right? So if we scroll down, it says U.S. foreign aid to Israel. Overview and development since October 7th of 2023. And they're telling you they updated it in 2025. It says right here, U.S. support for the creation of Israel in 1948. To date, the United States has provided the state of Israel $174 billion in bilateral assistance and missile defense funding. So what does that mean? That means we've provided, this country here through our tax dollars and our spend has given this state of Israel, since it became recognized in 1948, we have given them $174 billion, not millions, billion dollars in bilateral assistance and missile defense funding. So either equipment, intelligence, money, contracts, all that. We're giving them straight money. So that's what we're supporting. And what are they doing with those missiles? What are they doing with those tanks? Well, we see what they're doing with it over there in Palestine, over there in Gaza. They're wiping out a whole people. They're destroying things that have been there for hundreds and hundreds of years. So again, what does that have to do with us? Right? All right, I'm going to pull up another video. Let's do a new share. I want to pull up a video real quick. back. All right, so I'm going to go back here and I want to pull up a video and I want to show what does that have to do with us? Why is this such a threat? All right, so let me go do a new share. And let me find the video real quick. And all of this is really going to keep things in context. All right, so this footage here we about to see is, which I'm not going to play the audio because I don't want us to get kicked off. I'm putting the subtitles on, all right, the subtitles on so we can read what this lady is saying. This is the Israeli consulate, and I believe for Atlanta, speaking. Her name is Judith Varney something, Warner or something like that, Varner. Judith Varney. All right, so here it is. We're playing it. The major problem with Israel is the young generation of the black community. So let's play that back again. All right. She's talking about the major problem with Israel. Again, let's play it real quick and we're going to pause it. All right. The major problem with Israel is with the young generation of the black community. Where you think she talking? You think she talking about the black community in Israel? She's the counselor here in Atlanta. Israeli American is telling you right behind Israeli American Council. She's dealing with black Americans. And she's telling you as being representation of the Israelis in the state of Israel that the major problem with Israel is with the young generation of the black community. Then she further goes into the Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter starts there. So she's talking about that Black Lives Matter ain't overseas, that's here. Now, we don't got nothing to do with that, but she's letting you know where the problem is. So did this just start there? Did it just start with this lady? I'm drawing a correlation here, right? We have countries that are siding with Israel. America is siding with Israel. America has given billions, $174 billion to the state of Israel. And the state of Israel that's interfacing with America, the consulate, is telling you that their major problem that Israel has is with you, young black Americans. Are we following the issue here? The problem is with you, and they're getting billions of dollars to have technology to do things like what they did with Palestine, how they had these people's pagers and cell phones blowing up, maiming, hurting kids and wives and all kind of stuff. This is the firepower, the money and technology that they're being given and empowered to do, in America supporting that, your country. All right. And it didn't just start recently with this. We're going to follow a pattern. Let's look at this next thing. It's called Project Megiddo. Project Megiddo was a report researched and written by the United States FBI, Federal Bureau of Investigation, under Director Louis Freeh, released on October 20th of 1999. The report named followers of white supremacy, Christian identity, the American militia movement, and black Hebrew Israelites. We have been clumped all together. If you black and you an Israelite and a Hebrew, then you a black Hebrew Israelite. You a terrorist, right? And they said an apocalyptic cults as potential terrorists who might become violent in reaction to the new millennium. So they was worried from before the new millennium. They got FBI reports that are labeling us as a threat. Many of us weren't even Israelites back then, we didn't even know we was Israel. But they've been had an eye on us for a long time. And who do you think is supporting this? Where you think the FBI came from? Where you think all the money for these things come from? Where does the money come from? Because it's not backed by gold. In 1999, it wasn't backed by gold. The money's coming from a central banking system, which is a private bank, which is owned by who? You can draw the dot. So, all right, so that's 1999. And the last one here is, this is the FBI leaked report on something they created in 2017, the Black Identity Extremist. So they created something called, and this is a copy of the leaked report where they just had to put it out right here. It's right here on the Federal Bureau of Investigation, FBI.gov. They have to divulge it. It's already out, right? So this Black Identity Extremist, in 2017, the FBI created an intelligent assessment category. They had to change the names. Now it's Black Identity Extremists because listen, we not Black Hebrew Israelites. Because if you're a Hebrew Israelite, you're already a so-called black. So why would I need to say I'm a Black Hebrew Israelite? There is no other Israelite, Hebrew Israelite. So they had to create a new identity, a Black Identity Extremist. Now, these leaked documents show the FBI was concerned that Black Identity Extremists might use force or violence in response to perceived police brutality. The BIE label was widely criticized by civil rights, civil liberty groups for potential profiling Black activists and was later removed. So, yes, so-called later removed, right? So this has been in place. And do you think that this is America doing this? America's not even running America. How can America, after the genocide that's going on, and we're going to cover this genocide too, it's biblical. All of this is in the word. This is judgment going on. How could America continue to support a country committing genocide against another country? And then on top of that, how could they publicly make laws to punish people and organizations within this country for saying, well, we're not going to spend money with anybody that supports that kind of genocide? That lets you know who's really running this country. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the class. So now that we got an understanding of why we are public enemy number one, how you know this, let's get into it. Let's open up in Yohanan, John chapter 16, and we're just going to read 1 through 3. Bear with me. I'm reading myself today, so might be a little bit slower in between my transitions. All right, so we're in the book of John. Let me go ahead and share the screen. Yohanan, John, chapter 16, and we're going to read 1 through 3. And this is an open forum. For the past month or so, you know, it's been a little difficult because when we get like when the comments come up on our stream, I don't see it till like way later. Shabbat Shalom, Brother Yafi. So I try to get to the comments. If I get to it late, I apologize. Just doing the best we can, given, you know, all the unnecessary difficulty they're making it for us. All right, so we're at Yohanan, John chapter 16, and we're going to read verses 1 through 3. And we can't say Mashiach ain't prepare us for what was coming our way. He made sure we understood the mission. These things have I spoken unto you, that you should be not offended. And what's being offended? Offended is to be tripped up so that you don't stumble. Verse 2, they shall put you out of the synagogues. Yea, the time comes that whosoever kills you will think that he does Elohim a service. So, yes, in these latter times, because of the prince of this world fighting the takeover, you will get put out of churches. You will get put out of Christian churches. You will get put out of Israelite churches. You know a synagogue gonna throw you out. You'll be thrown out of your own family at times. This is part of the mission. He's not, giving you that religion talk. Oh, join our religion. Everything's gonna be great. No, he's letting you know what you about to step yourself into, so you're not confused. They gonna think they doing God a service by killing you. Now, take that one verse right there. They think they gonna do Allahim a service by killing you. And now remember how we started the class. All Project Megiddo and the Israeli American consulate, Judith Varner Shore was her name, telling you that you, young Black America, you the biggest problem with Israel. Now, America giving $742 billion to your enemy, to the person who's telling you you're the biggest problem? How do you think they're going to treat you? If you giving my enemy $174 billion, the person that took my land, claimed that they are me, and has funded every movement from the FBI, the CIA, to the civil rights, every movement to destroy us, and then finally in 2020 something, come out and just say, look here, young Black America, you the biggest problem to the state of Israel. You think you don't got beef with the country you in? You got major beef with the country you're in because they supporting your enemy. And they killing other people that look like you. Verse 3, and these things they will do unto you because they have not known the Father nor me. And the people over there do not know the Father. They do not know the Father. And the people that run this country do not know the Father. They know their Father. And how do you know him? You know him by their deeds. That's how you know who your Father is, by your deeds. So let's move on. Let's go to Genesis, Bereshit chapter 15. Genesis, Bereshit chapter 15. And we're going to read a few verses here, 12 through 14. So we understand that we got a big target on us. They know the jig is up. They know who we are. They know that we're a threat to their existence. And we just read that the time is going to come when they going to think they doing Allahim a service by killing us. So we understand where we're at now, but how did we get here? So we're going back to the beginning. We're going back to Genesis. We're going back to the prophecy that brought us into this captivity, that said that this is what was going to happen to us, that we would go into captivities and afterwards we would rise back to our estate. So that's what people are afraid of. They're afraid of the part that we're in now where we're rising back to our estate. So Bereshit chapter 15 and verse 12. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, know of a surety that your seed shall be a stranger in a land not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. So again, when the way the Father gives us scripture, some people believe it's just purely parabolic. Some people believe it's purely literal. And I'm one of the individuals that don't limit the Most High. I believe it's both. So these things have to literally happen, and it's also a sign for things to come for us to understand. So when it's talking about the sun going down, did the sun physically go down? Absolutely. Did a deep sleep fall upon Abram, the physical Abram? Absolutely. Did a deep sleep fall upon Abram, the Hebrews? Absolutely. We fell into a deep sleep and lost our identity and who we were. And because we lost and we forgot we the sons of kings, we the son of the Most High, we his chosen nation, the apple of his eye, the engraving on his palm, then a great horror of darkness fell upon us, the Hebrew nation. because we stopped walking like kings, started walking like heathens. So we forgot who we were. Verse 13. And he's because of that, he said, surely we're going to be a stranger. And it says his seed, that's us, a stranger in a land that's not ours. This is not our land. We were given a land. Every nation was given a land. If we go in our other records, it lists that Shem, which is our line, was given the middle of the earth. America, that's a different area. That America is not in the table of nations in Genesis chapter 2, which gives you all the nations and who stayed there. So that's not our land. So we're a stranger in a land that's not ours. And we were serving them. And we were afflicted in that land for 400 years. And we got here as a slave ship in 1619. And in 2019, August 2021, around that time, that was the fulfillment of the far prophecy of the 400 years. We had 430 something years, 433 years in Goshen, which is on the other side of the Nile River, which happens to be on the side that belongs to Abraham. We was there 430 years. So that's not a place that's not ours. We own that land. And we was there for 430 something years. But here, 400 years. That was our punishment. All right, so verse 14. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge. And what happened at the end of that 400 years? Right behind it, around 2020, about 7 months to the date, the whole earth shut down. Judgment came because all these nations took part in our downfall. And it says, and afterward, they shall come out with great substance. So this is what they fear. They fear that we're going to come out with great substance. And if they wonder where we're going to go, verse 15 tells you, going to your fathers in peace. Where were our fathers at? Israel. Biblical Israel. But it says that that nation whom we serve has to be judged first. And we are watching that to the point where we're watching their own heroes getting murdered and shot down. It used to be just us up there getting shot and killed. Now we seeing them getting their own heroes getting shot down and killed. So judgment is coming. It's their economy is failing. We don't know the difference, black people. We've been struggling since inception here. Since this captivity, we've been struggling. So we used to the struggle. They are getting judgment. Look at the rest of the European nations. Judgment everywhere. You're looking at them. Falling. Africa taking independence. Judgment is happening everywhere. So these are prophetic things. So again, we were going to go into captivity. We were going to forget who we were. We will be afflicted for 400 years, and then we will come to remembrance. So let's see the beginning of this prophecy. The beginning of this process. This happened first to the northern kingdom. So we're going to see how the northern kingdom, which they're fighting over right now, they're fighting over the northern kingdom. They're not fighting over the southern kingdom. They're fighting over northern kingdom. But where was the northern kingdom? The northern kingdom got expelled. And there was nothing but a few poor people of our bloodline that was still there. And some of them same poor people are there in Gaza right now. Being shot, killed, starved. Gaza, the north, Palestine's a racist place. They put all of us in one section and say, you got to stay over there and call it the slave section. So there's judgment going on over there. But most of us by tribes was already expelled. So we're going to Debri Melachim, 2 Kings chapter 17. Debri Melachim, 2 Kings chapter 17. And we're going to look at how this happened, how we got kicked out. All right, so let's start this at verse 7. 2 Kings chapter 17 and verse 7. For so it was that the children of Yasharal had sinned against Yahweh, their Elohim, which had brought them out of the land of Mizraim from under the hand of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and had feared other alls, and walked in the statutes of the heathen, whom Yahweh cast out from before the children of Yasharal, and of the kings of Yasharal, which they had made. And the children of Yasharal did secretly those things that were not right against Yahweh their Elohim, and they built them high places in all their cities, from the tower of the watchman to the fenced city. So notice it said they did secretly. So in public, they was acting like shalom, shalom, and all that type of stuff, right? Shalom, Aki. But secretly, they were getting together and they were putting up idols. Verse 10, and they set them up images and groves in every high hill and in every green tree. So these groves are Asherah poles, and images are those idols. These are all idols that they're setting up. The same people that Yah came and showed himself to. Verse 11, and there they burnt incense in all the high places, as did the heathen whom Yahweh carried away before them, and wrought wicked things to provoke Yahweh to anger. For they serve idols, whereof Yahweh had said unto them, you shall not do this thing. So if we as a people know for a fact that that's fugazi, that's fake, that's not real, I know the real true living Elohim because he showed himself to us. He humbled the whole world. He took the biggest bully down. He done parted waters for us. He done brought it. We done wore the same Nike sandals for 40 years in the wilderness. You know, all these things. And Salaki, I shouldn't even said Nike, that whole pagan name. The same, Howard Shai sandals for 40 years in the wilderness. We know all this. Do you think we were fooled by these idols? Absolutely not. But when we amongst the heathen and we see that we can benefit some kind of way by serving the heathen's idols, we can get some more money, we can get out of trouble, we can get ahead, we can be less oppressed, or whatever the case may be, we're willing to give up our salvation for that. This is our nature. Verse 14 or verse 13. Yet Yahweh testified against Yasharal and against Yahweh by all the prophets and by all the seers, saying, turn you from your evil ways and keep my commandments and statutes, according to all the law which I commanded your fathers, and which I sent to you by my servants the prophets. Notwithstanding, they would not hear, but hardened their necks, like to the neck of their fathers, that did not believe in Yahweh their Elohim. So you don't really believe. Because if you know that Yahweh is real and he's true, then you know his word is true, then you know how he's going to deal with you. You would have some fear. But if you feel like, nah, Satan is more powerful, or I don't really believe he exists, then you're going to do what you want to do. So our nation stopped believing. And specifically, we're talking about the northern tribes. So see what y'all gonna do. Verse 16, and they left all the commandments of Yahweh their Elohim, and made them molten images and 2 calves, and made a grove, and worshiped all the host of heaven, and served Baal. So the northern tribes left all the commandments all together. And this is why the southern tribes weren't dealing with the northern tribes. The southern tribes was messing up, but they was like, well, at least we keeping some of the commandments. The northern tribes, they gave it all together. Verse 17, and they caused their sons and their daughters to pass through the fire, and use divination and enchantments, and sold themselves to do evil in the sight of Yahweh to provoke him to anger. This is no different than what we're doing now. You causing your son and daughter to pass through the fire when you sticking that poison in their veins. Because the white man said, oh, you need to do this. And you're not studying the law and not understanding you don't have to do that. And you putting that poison in your kids' veins. When you having abortions, when you're doing all these things and destroying your children, feeding them that nasty food, passing that generational curse, you passing your kids into the fire. And divination, enchantments, we don't even have to go there. We got real life witches and warlocks. Literally. Even when you watch that movie, Sinners, they putting it right in your face. Mojo, what kind of crap is that? Ain't nobody protect you but the Most High Yah. Ain't no bag hanging around that's somebody pray about. You might as well be like the Catholic. This is the stuff that we still doing in 2025, thinking that this is more blacker. This is less religious. This is going back to our African roots. Your roots ain't Africa. Your roots ain't Hamite. Verse 18. Therefore, Yahweh was very angry with Yasharal and removed them out of his sight. There was none left but the tribe of Yahweh. All right, so here you go. He removed the tribes, and all you had was Benjamin, Levi, and Judah. And Levi initially left with the northern tribes, but it was so wicked there, they came back to the southern tribes. All right, and let's continue. Verse 9, and also Yahweh kept not the commandments of Yahweh their Elohim, but walked in the statutes of Yasharal, which they had made. So Judah eventually did the same thing. So what happens when Judah does it? So let's go read that. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 25. Jeremiah chapter 25. So we see the northern tribes getting removed, literally dispersed, removed out of the land. Judah really being the only tribe left, but Judah following in the same footsteps as their brothers and sisters out the north. What you think the father gonna do? Well, I gotta leave one tribe there. Yah is the Elohim of order. All right, Jeremiah chapter 25 and verse 1. The word that came to Jeremiah concerning all the people of Yahweh in the 4th year of Jehoiakim, the son of Josiah, king of Yahweh, that was the 1st year of Nebuchadrezzar, king of Babylon. The which Jeremiah the prophet spake unto all the people of Yahweh and to all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, saying, from the 13th year of Josiah, the son of Ammon, king of Yahweh, even unto this day, that is the 23rd year, the word of Yahweh has come unto me, and I have spoken unto you, rising early and speaking, but you have not hearkened. And Yahweh hath sent unto you all his servants, the prophets, rising early and sending them, but you have not hearkened, nor inclined your ear to hear. They said, turn you again now, every one from his evil way, and from the evil of your doings, and dwell in the land that Yahweh hath given unto you and to your fathers forever and ever. And go not after other idols to serve them and to worship them, and provoke me not to anger with the works of your hands, and I will do you no hurt. Yet you have not hearkened unto me, says Yahweh, that you might provoke me to anger with the works of your hands to your own hurt. Therefore, thus says Yahweh of hosts, because you have not heard my words. Behold, I will send and take all the families of the north, says Yahweh, and Nebuchadrezzar, the king of Babylon, my servant. Notice he's calling Nebuchadrezzar, the king of Babylon, his servant. Yah will use these nations like a belt to our backside. He didn't choose Nebuchadnezzar, the nation of Babylon. But he will use whomever. If he can use a donkey to talk to a prophet, you think he can't use a Gentile? Again, says Yahweh, and Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, my servant, and will bring them against this land and against the inhabitants thereof, and against all these nations round about, and will utterly destroy them, and make them an astonishment and a hissing and perpetual desolations. And we forget, it wasn't just us that went into captivity. All these nations round us went into captivity. All of us. The Babylonian, the Pedo-Persians and all, they took the Medo-Persians, they took everything. They were running everything. Verse 9, I will send and take all the families of the north, says Yahweh, and Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, my servant, and will bring them against this land and against the inhabitants thereof, and against all these nations round about, and will utterly destroy them, and make them an astonishment and a hissing and perpetual desolations. And since then, all those nations that he's talking about have never been the same. They're different now. The original people ain't there and don't look the way they look back then. Verse 10, moreover, I will take from them the voice of mirth, the voice of gladness, the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride, the sound of the millstones and the light of the candle. And this whole land shall be a desolation and an astonishment, and these nations shall serve the king of Babylon 70 years. And it shall come to pass when 70 years are accomplished that I will punish the king of Babylon and that nation, says Yahweh, for their iniquity and the land of the Chaldeans, and will make it perpetual desolations. And I will bring upon the land all my words which I have pronounced against it, even all that is written in this book, which Jeremiah has prophesied against all the nations. For many nations and great kings shall serve themselves of them also, and I will recompense them according to their deeds and according to the work of their own hands. So we followed in suit, and the other nations followed in suit, and we all went into captivity. So now you see the southern kingdom, Benjamin, Levi, and Judah, all of us have gone into captivity. We are out of the land. Out of the land. Nothing left but the poor. Very small remnant of us, poor, no royalty, no ruling factor, poor people. So what you think the nations that were still there going to do? The other nations, they stayed in their areas. We got dispersed to the four corners of the earth. Let's go to Psalms, Tehillim, chapter 83. Psalms, Tehillim, chapter 83. So as we took our downfall, and we fell several times, but when we finally fell, the nations around us, they celebrated. They assisted the Greeks and the Romans. They assisted them. The Persians, all of those people assisted the downfall of us to get us out of the land. And when we went out the land, the people around about, they said, all right, well, we're gonna come take over. So that's what they did. They took over and they moved in. They didn't kick us out. Those nations, those other nations round about didn't kick us out. They just assisted the other nations. They assisted the Euro Gentiles in exporting us. And we talking about African nations. You talk about Dahomey and the warrior, queen warrior, whatever. Oh, they men wasn't there because they men got judgment because they were one of the main proponents of the slave trade. So these Hollywood try to make it look like these African nations did this. No, these are the same people that sold us. That's why even going back into the land, we got to be careful how we enter into the land, because the ancestors of the same people that sold us out are there. So all these nations took part. Psalms, Tehillim, chapter 83 and verse 1. So again, Northern Kingdom got kicked out. We covered that. 2 Kings 17. Jeremiah prophesies what happens to the Southern Kingdom. We all expelled. What happens to the land? Verse 1. Keep not you silence, O Elohim. Hold not your peace and be not still, O Elohim. For lo, your enemies make a tumult, and they that hate you have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against your people and consulted against your hidden ones. So this is back in Psalms 83 days. So do you think that this has stopped? You think that they're not taking counsel against us? We just showed you a video. They had a whole council talking about young Black Americans. You think they not crafty? They call it the craft, witchcraft, and masonry. You think they don't have all these crafts consulting with these Greeks? What you think fraternities are? Going Greek. How do you go Greek if you're an Israelite? That's an oxymoron. You can't do that. Either you Israelite or you a Greek. Which one? So to go Greek, that means you got to sell out your Israelite brothers and sisters and make covenant with the Greeks. Crafty counsel. Why you think they took the book of Maccabees out? Crafty counsel. The book of Maccabees starts out talking about the sellouts. Verse 4. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Yasharal may be no more in remembrance. And they almost did it. First part was changing it to Israel. Israel. They can't even pronounce the word right. They can't pronounce an H. Israel. They have to pronounce it Russian and German, Turkish, with a Yiddish accent. They got the whole world thinking this state of Israel with a picture of a pagan 6-point star, which is literally not the Star of David. That's literally the pagan image, witchcraft. They put their star on a flag letting you know what time it is. If you supposed to represent Israel, why you ain't got a menorah up there? You want to represent us, represent what y'all chose for us. Put a lion in a menorah. He didn't give us no star. He didn't give us no triangle. But they said, let's cut them off from being a nation. Let's kill them. Okay, well, we can't kill them all. We need them. Well, let's cut off their identity. And so they don't remember it, we'll take it. And they took our identity. And look at these councils. They got President Trump just mentioned the other day, the Abraham Accord. Look it up. That's the covenant talking about in Daniel, where the whole world is going to be in agreement. It's all right here. Verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against you. Who's you? Yah. And to be confederate against Yah, you got to be confederate against his children. You can't say, I hate this man, but I'm gonna be cool with his kids. It don't work that way. You got beef with the father, you got beef with the kids. And you best believe you got beef with the kids, that father gonna come see about you. Verse 6, who are the culprits? Esau, the tabernacles of Edom, the Ishmaelites, Arab, right? Islam. So you got two, Judaism and Islam, the two tabernacles, the two houses, Moab, the Hagarenes, the Moabites. Those are the people that are right around the land, Palestine, all those people, Jordan, Gebal, Ammon, Amalek, Philistines. Philistine is Palestine. with the inhabitants of Tyre. Asser, which is Syria, also is joined with them, and they have holpen the children of Lot. So all these nations that we talk about right now, well, they whole leg getting blown up. All them people, they consulted together. You think they not still consulting together? How else could this money operate like this unless they're consulting together? Even if I agree to use your monetary fund, it's consultation. They consulting. It's agreements. They in confederate. All right, we can stop right there. It's because we can see what time it is. Matter of fact, I just want to read the last verse, verse 12. What did they say? Let us take to ourselves the houses of Elohim in possession. And they did it in different levels and degrees. Some thought the houses of Elohim was literally our houses, so they moved in. That's Palestine. That's Pelasheth. That's the Philistines, Capharim, those people. Then you had others that went a further step. Esau, Edom, now we want to own these people. We want the people. We don't just want the house. We want the people. Not only the house, we want the heritage. We want the land. We want the name. We want it all. So you going to try to steal from my father, the king, and think that he not going to come see about you? Because he didn't come knock you down right away. You thought he forgot. Nah, he didn't forget. Just like we ain't forgotten. His memory way better than ours. Let's go to Lucas chapter 21. Just because he dealing with his kids and we grounded don't mean he not going to come see about you. We going to come back outside. We on punishment. We looking out the window right now, but guess what? We allowed to come out here and there and go to the store and do little things. We starting to get our freedom back. But wait till we off punishment. The Most High gonna deal with you, and that's what's happening right now. The nations, plural, are getting dealt with. We getting righteous judgment. Whatever we do, we get just like everybody else. We do wickedness, we gonna receive wickedness. But our judgment passed. We had our 400 years. We just waiting to get released. We waiting for them cell doors to open. The rest of the nations, they getting their judgment. And it ain't over. Lucas chapter 21, we're going to read from verse 15 to 24. Lucas chapter 21 and verse 15. And see, Shalom, Brother Dre Day. I had to restart this. It's like I got to refresh the whole class just to see new comments. Shalom, Brother Dre Day. Sorry I missed you. And Shalom, Adira. Shabbat Shalom. Good to see you as well. Lucas chapter 21 and verse 15. So if I don't get to your comment, I'm not ignoring you. It's just they don't put it up on the screen. Verse 15. Matter of fact, let's go back a little bit. Verse 12. But for all these they shall lay their hands on you and persecute you, delivering you up to the synagogues and into prisons, being brought before kings and rulers for my name's sake. And it shall turn to you for a testimony. So while we in our woe is me, why the government keep messing with me? Why the police keep messing with me? Why my boss keep messing with me? Why my neighbor? Well, listen, these things are for a testimony. What is your testimony? That Yah's word is true and that's what you're going to speak and do? Or you on the other side of that proverb? Settle it therefore in your hearts not to meditate before what you shall answer. So when you are brought in judgment for merely keeping Yah's word and trying to do righteousness, don't try to come up with a whole defense mechanism. Trust that Yah has you there for a reason because you followed what he said to do. Now, if you got yourself in this, you better do all the research you can and praying. But if you're doing righteousness and this happens, that means this is for a testimony. Yah gonna give you the word they cannot gainsay. For I will give you a mouth and wisdom which your adversary shall not be able to gainsay nor resist. And you shall be betrayed by both parents, brothers, kinfolks, and friends. And some of you they shall cause to be put to death. And how can you be caused to be put to death? Some will literally cause you to get killed when it gets that bad in the heat of Jacob's trouble, right? But what about when they cause you to fall from your grace, when they cause you to turn your back on the commandments, when they cause you to stick poison in your veins, which ends up killing you in a few years? We just witnessed this happen to many people. Verse 17, and you shall be hated of all for my name's sake, but there shall not a hair on your head perish. In your patience possess you your souls. And what is patience? That just means waiting around. If we look at hupomonene, it also means, in the Greek, it means to have a cheerful continuance. So it talks about in your patience, hupomone, cheerful endurance. That means you're not murmuring all the way when you're enduring these things. This is for a testimony. So even the angels in heaven will be like, wow, look at that servant. He taking it to the chin. And he continued because he trusts y'all. He know y'all going to take care of him in the latter end. All right. Verse 20. And when you shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is near. That is starting to become more clear. All United Nations is turning against Israel. United States is literally one of the few countries, major powers, is actually backing them. So you can see how these armies going to be all surrounding Jerusalem. Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, and let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter thereinto. So it may not be the smartest time to flee to Israel right now. You see what's happening. All you got to do is look at all the countries that border them. Everything on the east, on the western side is destroyed. That's letting you know where the destruction is coming. Verse 22. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. We are in the days of vengeance. Whose vengeance? Vengeance belongs to Yah. The day of Yah is rapidly approaching. And he said the days of vengeance. But woe to them that are with child, and them to that give suck in those days. For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people. Why would it be so dangerous to have a child? Well, just think about that movie. What's that movie? The Quiet Place, where they're on the run from this demonic thing, and it attacks sound. Well, it don't have to be a demon. When people looking to kill you and you make a noise, yeah, that's a terrifying thing to have a baby. You got to be quiet. And there's wild animals trying to kill you, or heathens trying to kill you. Just putting things in perspective. Verse 24, and they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Goyim, the Gentiles, until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. So we saw how that happened. We got evicted from the land, and all the Gentiles moved in. They made their covenants in Psalms 83. They figured out how to hijack the land and who was going to be who and what was going to be what. And they did it. And we saw the end of it with Mashiach. Once he's gone, the time of the Gentiles. They ruling. Let's go to Romans chapter 11. Ramim, Romans 11, and we're going to read 18 through 26. So the time of the Gentiles. The time of the Gentiles is what we're in now, which is prophetically the age of Pentecost, where the Gentiles are getting an opportunity to access Yah through this word, through Mashiach, through Israel, biblical Israel. That's their time. So when their time is up, judgment. And that's what we just read. Judgment. Romans chapter 11 and verse 18. Boast not against the branches, but if you boast, you bear not the root, but the root bear you. You will say, the branches were broken off that I may be grafted in. And he's talking about the Gentiles being grafted in. Well, because of unbelief, they were broken off. And you stands by faith. Be not high-minded, but fear. So the so-called Christian or believer in Mashiach that is not of our nation, if they try to boast, oh, Israel was cut off and the new covenant, the new covenant is between Judah and Israel. What are you talking about? When you try to downgrade our importance or you try to replace us altogether, you better have fear, because if he broke the natural branches off, what do you think he's going to do to you? For if Elohim spared not the natural branches, take heed, lest he also spare not you. Verse 22, behold, therefore, the goodness and severity of Elohim. See, we know Yah, because we know the goodness and the severity. We live in the severity of Yah. Gentile don't understand that. That's why he don't fear Yah the way we fear Yah. On them which fell severity, but towards you goodness, if you continue in his goodness, otherwise you also shall be cut off. And they also, if they abide not still in unbelief, shall be grafted in, for Yah is able to graft them in again. For if you were cut out of the olive tree, which is wild by nature, and were grafted contrary to nature into a good olive tree, how much more shall these, which be the natural branches, be grafted into their own olive tree? For I would not, brethren. Actually, we want to stop there. So again, they're boasting against us. They're trying to take our land, take our kingdom. They're still lying. They haven't confessed. Some of the African nations are starting to confess. And that's why those African nations are starting to get blessed. But the Euro Gentile is not acknowledging. They still holding up this falsehood of this of these people that's claiming to be us. They're even making all kind of laws to even discuss it. Well, guess what? If they still abide in unbelief, they're going to get plucked out just like us. So we are going to remember this. So let's go back into the Apocrypha now. So if you do not have access to the 1611 King James, then go to our website, IsraeliteGathering.com, or go to our app, Israelites Gathering, and you'll be able to access. Because now we're going to go into the book of Baruch. The book of Baruch, and we're going to get into prophecy. Baruch chapter 2. And we're going to read 26 through 35. So just because you boasting against us and you got the whole world fooled, hating us and thinking that God blesses those who bless Israel, and they giving all their money and going to church thinking that they support in biblical Israel when they're not, just because you got them fooled, that's what makes us the biggest threat. Because if we are the people that they're claiming to be and we don't know, and we start to remember, that's a threat to their lie and their scheme. Their scam is up. So that's why we're the biggest threat. And if the scam is up, if their scam is up, that means this country is up. It's a wrap. It's over. Because that's the only thing holding this country up. is the scam of us being peasants, being the tail and not the head. That's the only thing holding this country up. Baruch chapter 2 and verse 26. And the house which is called by your name, you has laid waste, as it is to be seen this day, for the wickedness of the house of Yasharal and the house of Yahweh. So we both messed up. Verse 27. O Yahweh our Elohim, you have dealt with us after all your goodness and according to all your great mercy of yours, as you spake by your servant Moshe in the day when you did command him to write the law before the children of Yasharal, saying, if you will not hear my voice, surely this very great multitude shall be turned into a small number among the nations, where I will scatter them. And see, they don't want us to hear that. They remove all that scatter talk. We didn't migrate, we were scattered. You want to know what scattered looked like? Go into a crowd and bust a gunshot in the air. And when you see people scattering, that's what scattering looks like. They run it in any direction. And that's what we did. We had to run in any direction if we were physically able to run, or we were put on boats and shipped. Verse 30. For I know that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves. And we are starting to wake up. It's like when you got somebody waking up out of a deep sleep, he starts looking around and he's wiping his eyes, and you done changed everything, you stole things. You don't want him to wake up. That's a problem. As long as he's asleep, though, you can just lie and go around saying, hey, this is mine. The real owner can't speak up. So it says, in the land of our captivities. That's where we are going to be, in the land of our captivity. So if you don't understand that you are in the land of your captivity, you still asleep. And shall know that I am Yahweh the Elohim, for I will give them a heart and ears to hear. And that's the only reason we on this class right now, listening to these scripts, listening to this crazy man barking these scriptures. Because Yah put it in our hearts, in the land of our captivity, to hear the errors of our way and try to make changes. Verse 32, and they shall praise me in the land of their captivity and think upon my name. Hallelujah. And that's what we're doing right now. Majority of us in the holy days. We in like, what, the third, fourth day of tabernacles? Some of us in atonement, some of us in having trumpets. We thinking upon Yah's character. This ain't natural. Oh, my flesh at some age just told me to go keep the Shabbat. No, it didn't. We had to think upon Yah's character. We had to be aware of it. That's why we're the biggest threat. When they having Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur and all that stuff and Teruah on the same day in the same month, you're like, what is you talking about? How you have Rosh Hashanah and trumpets and atonement in the same months? Look at Leviticus 23. What is you talking about? Go to Numbers. What is you talking about? Go to Deuteronomy. What is the same book you call Torah that you claim, that you actually read? What is you talking about? That's why we a threat. Verse 33, and return from their stiff neck and their wicked deeds, for they shall remember the way of their fathers which sinned before Yahweh. So we remembering the ways of our fathers. Some of us following the moon, some of us waiting for the moon to tell us when a Shabbat is coming, and all kind of stuff. This is Babylonian. This is what we did in Babylon. Where do you think we got this from? Moon worship. We don't remember these ways. Most of us had to go into the moon worship first before we could say, wait a minute, something's not adding up. And I will bring them again into the land which I promised with an oath unto their fathers, Abraham, Yashak, and Jacob, and they shall be my masters of it. And I will increase them, and they shall not be diminished. And I will make an everlasting covenant with them to be their Elohim, and they shall be my people. And I will no more drive my people of Yasharal out of the land that I have given them. And you even seeing in Palestine, the Israelites, the last remaining Israelites that stayed in the land, even they getting kicked out. Times is changing. They're afraid of that. So his judgment is here. That's what's going on in the land right now. Judgment, and it ain't over. Let's go to Amos chapter 1. This is all biblical. That's why when we see what's going on in Gaza, in our land, we seeing strangers getting killed in our land. Yeah, we feel bad for anybody getting killed. But we understand this is Yah's prophecy being unfolded. Yah said what was going to happen. You thought he was going to let you tell the heathen how to cut off our water so our women and our children would die of thirst so that they could beat us in battle? And y'all not going to come and deal with your children and your wives? And look how you're doing it. He keeping our hands clean. We ain't got nothing to do with that. Most of us don't even pay taxes. So it's not our fault. You can't blame us. You saying we the biggest problem. Really? We're not even over there. Most of us, we can't even get passports. They got us trapped here like prisoners. So how are we your problem? What you really want to say is Yah's your problem. And you can't say it till you're taking it out on his kids because you're scared of the Father. Amos chapter 1. Let's start this at verse 1. The words of Amos, who was among the herdmen of Tekoa, which he saw concerning Yasharal in the days of Uzziah, king of Yehoiada, in the days of Jeroboam, the son of Joash, king of Yasharal, 2 years before the earthquake. And he said, Yahweh will roar from Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem. And the habitations of the shepherds shall mourn, and the top of Carmel shall wither. Thus says Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Damascus, and Damascus is Syria, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they have threshed Gilead with the threshing instruments of iron. So you want to know what northern Israel finna look like when they finish with it? Go look at what Syria looks like. Go look at what Damascus looks like. That's what Gaza look like right now. Verse 4. But I will send a fire into the house of Hazael, which shall devour the palaces of Benadad. I will break also the bar of Damascus and cut off the inhabitant from the plain of Avon, and him that holds the scepter from the house of Eden. And the people of Syria shall go into captivity unto Kir, says Yahweh. So that's what happened to the Syrians. That's why you see the people in the land look a little different now. Thus says Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Gaza, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof. So he told you, I'm not turning this punishment away. You're going to deal with it. Why? Because they carried away captive the whole captivity to deliver them up to Edom. Kittim, the Edomites that were running Greece and Rome in them times. You sold us out. You were jealous of us because Yah chose us. So you helped them heathens dispossess us and punish us. And furthermore, you delivered us to our natural enemy, Edom, Esau. He hates us. Nothing worse than a friend or family member that hates you. That's worse than an enemy. Verse 7. But I will send a fire on the wall of Gaza, which shall devour the palaces thereof. You want to see that prophecy? Go look at the beach. The beach in Gaza was beautiful. Like, some of the most beautiful beaches in the world in Israel. Look like Call of Duty right now. That's how bad it looked like. Black Ops, the video game. Verse 8. And I will cut off the inhabitant of Ashdod. Listen to these cities, Ashdod. And him that holds the scepter from Ashkelon. This is northern Israel. The same places they fighting over right now. And I will turn my hand against Ekron, and the remnant of the Philistines shall perish. Palestine. Philistines is Palestine, says the Adonai Elohim. And when you see that lowercase L-O-R-D, that's the Adonai. That's Yah's word. That's Mashiach. Thus says Yahweh, all caps. Now Yah speaking. For 3 transgressions of Tyrus, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they delivered up the whole captivity to Edom, and remembered not the brotherly covenant. But I will send fire on the wall of Tyrus, which shall devour the palaces thereof. Thus says Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof. So Edom, Esau, fake Israelites, fake Yahudi, judgment is coming your way. First of all, you're mingled because you're not purely Kittim and you're not purely Edom. You're mixed with every captivity that you took over. Judgment is coming, says Yah, because he did pursue his brother with the sword. And Edom is the only nation besides the nation, the 12 tribes, that he called the brother to Israel. So Yah considered Edom a brother. So how offensive that you did this to your brother. The scripture is clear. Yah hates Edom. He hates him. That's his word, not mine. But the scripture is also clear by commandment. Yasharal, you shall not abhor, you shall not hate the Edomite, because he is your brother. So we can't hate him just because Yah dislikes him. Yah gonna deal with him, and he's telling you right now, I will not turn away the punishment. Verse 12, but I will send fire upon Timon, which shall devour the palaces of Basra. And you want to see what that looked like? Go to Isaiah 63. Thus says Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of the children of Ammon, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they have ripped up the women with child of Gilead, that they might enlarge their borders. So you killed our children so you can have more land? You went into what they call Palestine now, and you put your tents there, and now where you living at? Now you staying in tents again because they done blowed up your cities. Judgment. Not me, not Black Americans, not Israelite gathering. We didn't do this. Yah did this. Verse 14, but I will kindle a fire in the wall of Rabbah, and it shall devour the palaces thereof, with shouting in the day of battle, with a tempest in the day of the whirlwind. And their king shall go in captivity, he and his princes together, says Yahweh. And that's the end of their princes. Mark my word, watch what happens in the state of Israel. The same thing that happened over there in Iraq, the same thing that happened in Syria. And I'm not going to call out some of these other nations got it coming too. But we're dealing with the nations right around the land right now. Judgment. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 23. Jeremiah chapter 23. So do we feel sorry? Absolutely. We don't want to see people's kids and elderly women and, wives and all that stuff getting shot for no reason, trying to, Hunger Games. You over there running, trying to grab food. They picking you off. That's wickedness. Period. And we will not operate like that. But we will not speak against Yah's word. Point blank. That's the difference between us and them fake people with them little caps on their head. That's the difference between us and them. We ain't speaking against Yah's word. You speaking against what you don't understand. That's why you can do that. That's why you kissing a wall and humping a wall. Because you don't understand. He told you not one stone gonna be left upon another. But because you don't believe in the word, that's why you don't believe in Mashiach. And because you don't believe in Mashiach, you don't believe in the word. And that's why you're humping the wall. And circumcising babies with your teeth. And all kind of wicked homosexual stuff. You ain't got to tell Israel not to do that. Biblical Israel, you ain't got to tell us that, because that's not in us to do that. And furthermore, we got commandments that even if somebody wicked come around and say that, the commandment gonna chop you. Jeremiah chapter 23, and we're gonna read verses 1 through 7. So again, we were gonna remember ourselves. And while we remember ourselves, judgment was going to be going on to the nations, setting up the land for our return. Verse 1, woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, says Yahweh. Therefore, thus says Yahweh Elohim of Yasharal against the pastors that feed my people. You have scattered my flock and driven them away and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doings, says Yahweh. So all these leaders and elders and mores and bishops and pastors and teachers and leaders and captains and all these people, so-called titles of Israel. When you scatter in the flock, and how do you scatter the flock? When you got some people that understand the commandment and some people don't. And you try to push transgression, it's going to cause the people to scatter. Because some people are going to know better and say, I ain't dealing with this. And they become disenfranchised. Other people, they run into slaughter. Perfect example. In 2020, when all this went down, you had some of the biggest camp leaders of our name, not Christians, of our camps, come out and tell their people to stick poison in their veins. To the point where if we didn't have the evidence, if we didn't have the videos, their own members 5 years later wouldn't believe it. But the internet is undefeated. It got the videos. We got it. There's going to be judgment for scattering the people. Closing your doors on Passover. Forcing people to do poisonous activities. Verse 3, and I will gather the remnant of my flock. Where is his remnant of his flock? Out of all countries where I have driven them, and will bring them again to their folds, and they shall be fruitful and increase. And I will set up shepherds over them, which shall feed them, and they shall fear no more, nor be dismayed, neither shall they be lacking, says Yahweh. And praise Yah, if Israelite gathering has done anything to help you dispel fear, to help you no longer be dismayed, to make sure you're not lacking, then praise Yah. That's all we wanted to do. Verse 5, behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth. In his days, Yahweh shall be saved, and Yasharal shall dwell safely, and this is his name whereby he shall be called, Yahweh, our righteousness. And what is our righteousness? We have no righteousness of our own. So what is our righteousness? Yahweh. And what is Yahweh's righteousness? His word. He's going to be called the word. The word is our righteousness. Without it, we wicked. Because the flesh going to do what serves the flesh. Verse 7, therefore, behold, the days come, says Yahweh, that they shall no more say, Yahweh lives, which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Mizraim. But Yahweh lives, which led the seed of the house of Yasharal out of the north country, and from all the countries which I have driven them, and they shall dwell where? In their own land. Not in somebody else's land, in our land. Not in Africa, in our land. Not in the places we rose to be kings at. No, in the land that Yah gave us. Because other nations are going to go to their nations. 2nd Esdras chapter 6. We're going back to the Apocrypha. 2nd Esdras chapter 6. All right, and we're going to start this at let's start this at verse 7. 2nd Esdras chapter 6 and verse 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that follows? And he said unto me, from Abram unto Yatshak, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. So in understanding that it is already prophesied that Esau, Edom, Edomites will be the end of the old age of things, the end of the age of the Gentile, the end of the old world, the world in which Satan is running it. And Satan has decided, I have picked this bloodline to be his representation. They understand that the end of their world, the world ran by the adversary, is the beginning of Jacob's world that is following. Now you can see why we are such a threat. Let's go to the conclusion. We're going back to Jeremiah chapter 51 for the conclusion. Jeremiah chapter 51. Jeremiah chapter 51, and we're going to read 17 through 33 for the conclusion. Verse 17. Every man is brutish by his knowledge. Every founder is confounded by the graven image. For his molten image is falsehood, and there's no breath in them. They are vanity, the work of errors. In the time of their visitation, they shall perish. The portion of Jacob is not like them, for he is the former of all things, and Yasharal is the rod of his inheritance. Yahweh of hosts is his name. You are my battle axe and weapons of war. For with you will I break in pieces the nations, and with you will I destroy kingdoms. And with you will I break in pieces the horse and his rider, and with you will I break in pieces the chariot and his rider. With you also will I break in pieces man and woman, and with you will I break in pieces old and young, and with you will I break in pieces the young man and the maid. I will also break in pieces with you the shepherd and his flock, and with you will I break in pieces the husbandman and his yoke of oxen, and with you will I break in pieces captains and rulers. And I will render unto Babylon and to all the inhabitants of Chaldea all their evil that they have done in Zion in your sight, says Yahweh. So Yahweh is making it clear that we are the weapon that's going to destroy this age that is represented by Esau. We are going to be the destruction of it with us, period. Now, the how is what we are waiting on to see. And we all have expectations of how we see this happening. But what we have is the result. We are going to break these things in pieces. All these nations are going to have to choose between their nation doing things, which is ran by their angel, or falling under the order of righteous Yasharah under Yahweh, with Yahweh Shai, Mashiach, King of Kings, and King David, Prince. They got to decide that. Because it will be nation against nation. You pick the wrong nation, it's a wrap. Nation against nation is only two nations. Verse 25, behold, I am against you, O destroying mountain, says Yahweh, which destroys all the earth. And I will stretch out my hand upon you and roll you down from the rocks and will make you a burnt mountain. And they shall not take of you a stone for a corner, nor a stone for a foundation, but you shall be desolate forever, says Yahweh. Set you up a standard in the land. Blow the trumpet among the nations. Prepare the nations against her. Call together against her the kingdoms of Ararat, Mini, and Ashkenaz. So again, this is the judgment that's coming on Babylon. This is who's coming against them. Ararat, that's the Caucasus Mountains. Interesting. That's eastern Turkey, which is the border of Armenia, right? Mini, Armenia, that's the eastern border of Turkey. Ashkenaz, Germany, that's the Turkish, the Romans. That's the same people in the land right now claiming to be us. Appoint a captain against her. Cause the horses to come up as the rough caterpillars. Prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes. The Medes, that's Mayday. That's northwestern Iran. Prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes, the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of the dominion. And the land shall tremble in sorrow, for every purpose of Yahweh shall be performed against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without inhabitant. The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holes. Their might hath failed. They have become as women. They have burned her dwelling place. Her bars are broken. One post are run to meet another, and one messenger to meet another, to show the king of Babylon that his city is taken at one end. And the passages are stopped, and the reeds they have burned with fire, and men of war are frightened. For thus says Yahweh of hosts, the Elohim of Yasharah, the daughter of Babylon, is like a threshing floor. It is time to thresh her. Yet a little while, and the time of her harvest shall come. So we're going to stop right there. So we see all those nations, all these names that we hear about in the Bible that really don't make sense to us. When we look them up and we understand who they are and we look at what's going on in the world right now it makes sense. So we don't have to understand everything. We just have to understand who we are and who they are. Then once we understand that, we just have to find what it says about those people in the Bible. And it's consistent about us. Judgment against the nations that took part in punishing us by Yah's doing, all of them are going to get their righteous judgment. Then after that, we return back to our house, back to our home. And tabernacles represents returning into the home. But before we return into the home, we had to have a trumpets and acknowledgement, a mentioning, warning, the king is returning. I'm getting ready to come home. Before you come home, you're going to have to wipe them feet off. You're going to have to get rid of that sin. You're going to have to atone. That's why we have atonement. And that's going to be Jacob's trouble. That's what's coming next. We're going to have the announcement of who we are with trumpets in the spiritual season where the whole world is going to know the jig is up. It's already coming. We know it's near because the United Nations and most of the world is already siding against the state of Israel. It's just a matter of time before it becomes public knowledge that they are imposters. And when that happens, well, who's the real Israel? Dun, 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 there go the trumpets. We Israel. We the children of Israel. Now, once the target is on our back, that comes Jacob's trouble. 10 days later, you have atonement after trumpets. That will be when the entire nation of Israel is on the run. They trying to kill us. The jig is up. They like Indiana Jones trying to stop the prophecy of the Temple of Doom and Raiders of the Lost Ark. They trying to stop the prophecy. They trying to side with the devil. That means kill Israel, kill biblical Israel. That is atonement period. That's the season of atonement where we're praying, please forgive us. Y'all, they trying to kill us. And once we get cleansed, Mashiach returns. That's the house. We can't return into the house until Big Bro comes, till the high priest comes. We're responsible for killing Christ. We said, let it be upon us and our sons. Let his blood be upon us and our children. We the children. So the law says when you are guilty of a murder that you did not know about, you didn't do intentionally, then you got to go to the cities of refuge. That's our next point, the cities of refuge, where we got to stay in the wilderness until the high priest returns. That's the law. The new high priest comes in, Mashiach. Now we can enter in the land. We got Big Bro with us. We got power. Can't nobody stand in front of us. So we got to understand that. And understanding that this is the way things are going to play out according to scripture. We can't be fooled by confusion. We can't be fooled by desperation into doing things that's going to cause us to be hurt. We got to be confident. And like you said, in your patience, possess ye your soul. So in patience, I'm waiting for Yah's prophecy to unfold and all these things to happen and waiting on Yah to avenge us. And just in the meantime, preparing ourselves like a battle axe, sharpening our swords and being ready to be used, then we can't be fooled. So that's all we're going to do today. I apologize again if I missed any comments. I'm going to try again to see if there's any comments that I missed. But we are, let's see. Hallelujah. Sister Adira said hallelujah. Hallelujah. Again, if you've gained anything from us and would like to donate to our ministry, you can donate to our Cash App, which is $ATL. You can visit our website at israelitesgathering.com. Also download our free app on Android or iOS. It's also called Israelites Gathering. There you can access all of our stuff. You can reach out to us individually. It's more secure for you to message us and reach out to us via that platform than it is in email and internet and phones and all that, because it's independent. So for those that are in tabernacles, I pray that everybody continues to enjoy Yah's feast day, his Sagag, and not allow the differences of understanding and dates and calendars and things like that to be a point of contention or separation, because for 5-6 years straight we've been keeping holy days with different assemblies, different people that keep it in different times intentionally, just to show that, listen, it's about what we trying to do for the Father. It ain't about you right, I'm right, or whatever. We all trying to figure this out. So I pray that we're able to come together and come to greater understanding. And until then, Yah's will, we'll see you for next Shabbat. And also, we are also working on moving into the metaverse, into getting into more virtual reality. We got a few people we're working with, from different assemblies and different setups, which will stream our classes. We're going to start trying to be more involved, to be in other classes, to maybe answer questions and be available. So if you would like to take part in that, definitely reach out to us on the app or email us. And as we start to develop a platform and have something that we can share, we'll definitely share it on the platform so everybody can take part. So Yah's will, everybody have a blessed Shabbat, and Yah's will, we'll see you next Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom, y'all.
Okay, y'all. Yeah, you know what? I don't agree with what he said about the Jacob's trouble, and I don't understand why our people cannot find the right answer to that. It's almost like some people say, okay, we've already gone through it because it sure has been pure hell through these last 4 centuries. And some people are saying we're going to go into it. Okay, then what's all this hell we already been through? So more hell on top of all the hell we already been through. So, we just can't seem to be together on that. You listen to different people, you get different answers on it, which is really bizarre. It's almost like people are confounded and just can't find a good unified answer on that. So, I guess it's all about us using some good discernment at the end of the day. Mhm. When have they stopped killing us? Okay, we have been running for our lives for like what, 400 years of running for our lives? We got to run more for our lives at the end? It sounds crazy to me. So y'all, but you don't always throw the baby out with the bathwater. There were a lot of very good and valid points he did make other than that, you know. So y'all, thank you for all the prayers. I deeply appreciate it because there's definitely power in our prayers. We are the only ones that the Most High listens to. He does not listen to Gentiles. Maybe the ones that are cleaving, but as you can see, it is not many cleaving to us. It really will be a needle in the haystack when it comes down to Gentiles cleaving onto us because they are not doing it in great numbers at all. Not at all. So let me do my thank yous. The Hood Assassin, thank you so much for your super chat prayers for your son. May the Most High cover him with healing, prosperity, and long life. Glory to Yah. Thank you so much for that and your support for my channel. Mr. Soulful, thank you for your super chat. Shalom, Lisa, Sister Lisa, prayers and blessings to you and your family. Thank you so much, my brother, and thank you for your support for my channel. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. I will be coming back a little later because I do have going over the firings that have started with the federal employees, and I will be talking about that probably in the next few hours. And that more than likely will be my final live for today. I'm going to have to look after my son, so I want to have all that time free. So thank you so much for being here, and I pray the Most High keep you well protected and always keep his angels around you to keep you and your family safe. Shalom, family.